skills. But I think I would also agree with you on that.
Mm.
Yes, Eunice,
Mm.
thank you so much. In that very line, talking about Bana Bato, kids and the language, there's a chain of challenges in nurturing our kids. But in your setting,
Mm.
someone would call it a multicultural, different tags. But
Mm.
in your setting, are there any particular challenges you've encountered in child upbringing?
Mm. I'm afraid the listeners are waiting for me to say, no, there's nothing. It's just a smooth ride. It's heaven. No, 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 no. I'm sorry to disappoint you. There, like any, first of all, this is not special to just multicultural, but since you've asked me about my experience, I think that's the one I can authentically talk about. Yes, there are challenges. And a multicultural home, like I said, whether it's a Munyoro and a Muganda in Norway, you have three cultures now to negotiate within and see how all the values from these three cultures can be imparted in your kids. So now that's two people from one country. Then whether you're Ghana, Nigeria, moving to the UK, there's always negotiation. And for me, it's not any different. Yes. So the answer is yes. And I will highlight some, but I want to say that it's allowed to say, yes, people, there are challenges. I'm not that kind of person who paints the picture, rosy. And before I dive into my challenges, I just want to say that one of the things that I learned after experiencing, like in the early stages of raising the children, when you start to negotiate what parenting style are we going to have? Hey, that's when I realized that it is really good to be open and talk about your cultural differences earlier on, before even the kids come in, or even before you get serious.
Talk about your
I'll
culture
leave it there because your culture is part of you. Like I said, your partner may not agree with some of the things from your culture. They might think kneeling down is like, hey man, I come from an emancipated community. There are things that may shock them. For some people, the circumcision. So I feel like you may not agree with them. They may not agree with you, because there are also some things in Norway that I'm like, why? Sincerely, why? Why are we doing this? Like, for what? To what end?
Why?
Right. But the thing is that you will not agree with everything, just like you don't agree with everyone, even your sister and brother. But if you have a partner who has genuine interest in your culture, you can be interested in someone even if you don't agree with everything they say, because you're genuinely interested in learning about them,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
have to have that desire to understand and the ability to respect some things. There are also some things I have not understood up to now about Norwegian culture. For example, that thing of, you have to send the kid home. We're going to have dinner. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I've accepted. You get it? But in Uganda, I would never do that. I would just call the mother and say, hey, Gundi, ali wano, aja kulia na fera. Oba, you guys have guests, eh? But those are things that in the end, there are some things I've accepted that's how it is, especially if they don't infringe on my freedom, something like that I've explained. Okay. So please, I'm just saying from my experiences that go head on, ask the difficult questions, then it will be easy to find solutions later on. So the challenges that I've faced on parenting here is first of all is when you say multicultural, that's the challenge itself, is that one of being humble enough and patient enough to listen. You people, it's not easy, especially if you know that my culture is the best. My food is the best. Our culture, when you have that attitude. So that is a challenge. And also on the other side, because like I say, generally, the Western way of living, for us, we know about it. It is so international. Okay, Norway is a bit special, but still they are within that Western world. So for me, that has been a challenge, because I feel like I've had to do more explaining because my culture and the way we do things is not studied here, the way I study Europe, that side. There's a lot of explaining, and that's where I feel like I've had to dig back. I've had to go back and actually dig in myself. What are my values? Before I communicate them to someone, they are unsure. I'm unsure. So the other thing is there's something special. I have kids that people call mixed kids. That has color. Also, and we've talked about identity, but I also have had that challenge where I've realized that, wow, reading up and researching about that topic is that those kids also have their own problems. They are misunderstood in both cultures. They go to Uganda, they are here, so they are like, eh. So for me, that is also another challenge that I'm facing head on now by preparing them, if you know what I mean. Preparing them. Also being aware and not looking, because another thing is that in the beginning, when your kids start going to school, so people who have been in Europe, but also in Norway or Scandinavia, this thing that there is a racism comes up, especially when it's in first class, in P1. So we have it's not, I don't call it a challenge, but it's something we knew was coming, but we were ready for when it came, because we are ready to communicate the value of our kids to them. We are ready to tell them, this is how you handle such things. This is how you should expect to be treated. This should not be tolerated. I don't know. So I think the sense of belonging, I've talked about that one. And maybe the other one was our upbringings. Because I know that if I was to get married to a Ugandan, I would have to face this challenge too. But here it's even more. Because if I feel, I've not had a marriage before to a Ugandan but I feel like that is, for me, it was a core before I met my husband, whoever I was going to meet. I'm aware that we are different. Exactly. Some people in Uganda, they had dinner at the table. And then others, they sat at the sitting room, So etiquette, those small things of like, there's a way you're brought up, it's you. And then you meet some people wake up in the morning and there's a way you've grown up, a worker. Like
seeing your mom and dad.
Helping out, like that culture of help out when you're finished eating. Your kids clean, mommy's sitting there. Those things. So having to try and communicate the good things from my culture, and then having to learn finding that balance. And I think we should be more bold. That's how I'll end this topic, this answer like this. I really feel like even if whatever childhood we've had, there is something good. There's something good about your childhood. There's something good about your upbringing that you can bring with you into, in this case, a multicultural marriage. Please don't sleep on the job, because you have the chance to influence your kids' upbringing, and if you're the one who is vouching for your side of the culture. I don't know if I've mentioned enough challenges. Yeah, but that's my general perspective on that.
No, you certainly have. Like you said, I love it when you indicate right from the start, before answering your questions, that I'm only speaking from personal experience. You're only sharing your experience. And I think this detaches your submissions from what we watch over some platforms on social media, where someone has a comment on everything. You find someone having so many comments about parenting, even when they don't have children. So I love it when you say my experience. I have someone, I was interacting with someone, actually she lives in Yesam, where you live. She's a very old, rather knowledgeable lady. Yeah, she's a very knowledgeable lady, very reflected. She made a statement that there are people who have so many theories about child upbringing. That is before they get children. And after they have had children, they have no theory. Because then now the real game has started. So you're only speaking from experience, tough, soft, and a hard experience. So I love it when you emphasize that it is your experience. The topic is endless about integration. We get a piece from your challenges as a mom, a piece from your challenges as a wife in a multicultural setting. But generally, before we leave this, there are certainly challenges in your path to integrate in Norway. And even before asking what those challenges are, do you feel integrated in Norway?
Yes. And that refers to how I describe it.
No, that's what I was going to say, that I won't ask why, but I'll just go back to what you outlined.
And for those who have just joined, it has something to do with finding balance. And I said, for me, integration means finding that balance between who I am and my values and, the set of values that I have grown up with that are positive and I would like to carry on. And I'm convinced that, I need them to thrive. I need them to survive. They are part of my character. Without them, I'm empty. And then there's the other side of being aware of my new context, the things that I can change and the things that are a set of rules in society. How do I maneuver them without wearing myself out? So for me, I feel I'm integrated based on that I always revisit these two things. And I have people around me who ground me properly.
Okay. Thank you so much. And yes, I love it. Yes, that you feel that way. Perhaps I will just get critical on what you outlined and match them with that. I could have one or two leaves to borrow. Yes, you mentioned that you speak Luganda, and I think I've also interacted with you in Uganda. Being able to read this word, it tells that you were beyond an average Luganda reader. Eunice, are you familiar with a saying, or is it a proverb, or is it a cliche? But bw'ogenda ebulyambwa olyambwa. Is it one you're familiar with?
Yes. Yes. When in Rome, do as the Romans.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to bring it out in Uganda. Now, Eunice, in your setting, because I refer so much to your setting. My setting is different, but your setting is more Norwegian than mine. What's your take on that proverb, "Wogende bulyambwa olyambwa," relating it to what you said, finding that balance? Someone always have to eat imbwa and then embuzi weziri. Okay, of course, that the context of the proverb. What's your take in relation to what you said about the balance?
I have one thing, and I don't know, but I've learned this over time. This country we live in, when you're in Africa or in Uganda, you have this high view of everything Western. As if all the answers from the West are the best answers. Huh?
Eunice.
You even have people, some people say I have an accent. Some people complain that, hey, you've been in Europe for so long, but your English is not, it's not Englishing. Huh?
It's not English.
But I think we have this general thing that everything. So, and like I said, when we come here, we are different levels in Uganda, even when we come here. If they were to sort us from the airport here in Gardemon, we are different levels. We have different cultures, different values, different things. Anyway, what I'm getting to is that Europe doesn't have all the answers on how to live right, how to live happy, how to live excellent. The one thing I have learned that also drives this society is respect. And what I've learned together with it is when to give it and when to demand it.
Hey, shed a light on that. It sounds very interesting. Eh?
There are certain things you respect because everyone is following them. Felles regler, felles code, felles regler. Rules and regulations for all of us. The law, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't. If you've done this, you know that it's coming because it's written, it is there, you can't do it.
Yeah, sure.
But if someone is coming, complaining, that I don't know what to say. There's some people who complain, Nigerian food smells a lot. It's okay, move. You get what I mean, eh? There are certain, that's why I'm asking, I'm telling you, it's like, in that case, really, just respect that you are not, who has told you to be there? Move. So that, I don't know if that explains my expression.
No. And actually, just also to chip in there, that reminded me of there was a group of Norwegians I invited somewhere for dinner. And one of them declined the invitation.
Mm.
And as you know, words have ears. And his argument was, I wouldn't love to go there. You know, African food smells so much that you even feel it on your smell it on your clothes afterwards.
It's okay. Some people think the same about Indian food, but I know so many Norwegians who love Indian food. Have you seen the Indian restaurants in Oslo? So don't let one person, like all those things that are personal, someone brings their personal confusion, I call it. They bring their personal confusion on you. You don't have to respond to it. Walk away. Ignore them. Mind your own business. So, like I said, when to give it, when to demand it. If someone is getting into your space and really they have no business in it, and here I'm talking about culture, you know, there are some things that you're practicing in your home that are just in your home. If I come into your home as a Norwegian and I'm so critical of the way you're doing things and you're not breaking the law, these are actually sets of values that you hold dear. You can actually explain them to me if I'm inquisitive enough. And you tell me, you know, for us here, we do this and this before we go there. We do this and this and this before we go because of this and this and this. And my experience with it with my parents is positive. And it's not and then I say another third one I'll ask. You don't have to explain everything to everyone. So yes.
I love that. And yes, I realize that we share a line of thought and inclination on these aspects to do with finding that balance and holding a ground. But Eunice, as we empower people to uphold their values and heritage and norms, have you had cases where you feel that some Africans in particular over beating, I mean, you kind of aggressively try to make people understand and feel your presence. Have you had these experiences?
Actually not. And I say that because I feel like it's the opposite. In my own experience, I feel like we are humble. And my friends always tell me, Ugandans are so humble, banange. And then the guys are like, I want a wife from Uganda. Ugandans are so humble, they are gentle, they're not like all over the place. You know, and I feel sometimes our humility is misinterpreted because then we're not, like I said, you don't put the finger and say, my friend, Chikomao. Because I feel like we are so eager to integrate to the point that we are assimilating instead of integrating because you're not thriving. Because even things where you really see guabade, you see guabade monsobi, where you really see if you had spoken gently, and that's where the social intelligence comes in, you know, how do I go about it? How do I stand up for myself in a foreign country? That's a topic for another time. How do I communicate my worth and my values to people who don't understand them? I have to understand the rules of the game in order to play the game. So for me, I feel on the contrary. I don't know whether people will, people. I feel like we are humble. And I understand so because some of us, the state is following us. Some nosy neighbor has sent some weird message about how we raise our kids, or maybe literally we've done something wrong and we don't want to get on the wrong side of the law. You know, no matter what it is, I feel like even us who have done nothing, generally, we have that thing of, I think I should just keep quiet. I think I should just let it go. And then suddenly I feel like we don't thrive. I don't know. My personal.
No, actually, and I keep reminding myself, and I guess the viewer out there that this is her personal experience. But of course, in as much as we argue that it's someone's personal experience, but of course we also look at the mind and the angle of reflection that it might be your experience, but perhaps credible knowledge that we've had proudly say ndowooza kisanya kuba bwekiti. The viewer watching us, our guest has so many quotes. Yes, she's an architect, a co-founder of My African Athletics, where they majorly, if I just put it in one phrase, they want to just tap that life, that professional life in you. I mean, to help you remember and understand that we also have a space to occupy, and not just a space, always on the bottom level, the employment ladder. So it's just about, I'm trying to paraphrase actually your vision. I hope I'm putting out very well. Yes, but she also has a life as a mother and a wife to a Norwegian, and not just an ordinary Norwegian, but a Norwegian who has also served as the mayor of one of the municipalities in Norway. This, to me, I mean, I know there is someone watching, and I guess to that person, that there is someone, two, three people told me we are eager to hear this angle of Eunice Okagamba Chiwan. So maybe to them, nakati and Kabutanis. Yes, Eunice, your life as a mayor's wife, but I don't feel like addressing it as a mayor's wife, because what I learned from some sources that your impact has been felt beyond the borders of that municipality, Unensak municipality. Your time in office, 2019-2023, when your husband served as the mayor, that there was so much. But out of curiosity, I would love to learn from you that in Uganda, a mayor or a mayor's wife by default attains some level of respect, some social status, some kind of respect people give. And I wonder how your experience is for that time you held office as a family, the mayor's office. How was it about Evitibwa, Mayinja, privileges, benefits? How was that?
Well, again, I'm busting people's bubbles, but the level of status here I know is minimal for a mayor. And I say that in the context of, you know, what we are used to, special treatment in Uganda. Manya, you get an extra car, you get an extra car,
Convoy.
special car, your children are driven to school. You know, all those things, convoy, extra guards. No. On the contrary, people they really just expect you to do your job and do it well. And the criticizing is on. It is on. Those of even the same Denmark, just the way you see the way they handle the top politicians, the ministers, it's the same. And I think on a communal level, on a district level, it's even more intense because people know you. People have voted for you as a person, so the expectations are high. So the status part, yeah, that put aside, there are many lessons that I learned, and I'm going to just be quick because I can see that we are running out of time. The one I talked about, respect, when to give it and when to demand it. People, that the way we carry ourselves also commands respect. And in this role, you know, all those things that they taught you in at least Nabisunsa, and different boarding schools, you know, you sit straight, you do this, you know, all those small little things. Sometimes you're like, now because it's a deal, you know, you know, this is just snobbishness. And then suddenly you're invited to suddenly a royal is coming to Norway, and you're invited together with your husband, you know. Suddenly you're going to stand beside your husband and you're going to greet the prime minister. It's those small, it might seem like you're in the sidelines, but you reflect on your husband, especially when they're a public figure, and the reverse. You reflect on your wife when they're a public figure. So that thing of etiquette, but also respect, when to give it, but also when to demand it, and how to demand it in a civilized way. You learn those things, but the positive thing also is the social capital. You may not get a lot of money, but you meet so many people. And I think I was telling Moses that the thing I also learned is, like, when you get the chance to meet different people who are influential, please make it count. And I regret all those times, because you want to make it count every time. Sometimes you don't, of course. But for the times when I've made it count, where I have said, oh, by the way, this thing should be included in, I think this is my view as, you know, as a foreign person in this commune. I think this particular thing would be good to lift, or this, even if it's like this, if you're in there if you can be ready, always be ready to, pitch what could build you, but also your community or the people who look like you. So I think that is it. I think that is it. The challenges
yes.
is that you meet people from all walks of life. And I said, you have to practice etiquette. You have to practice listening to people. And like you said, that thing of explosion, like we say, hey, I'm African, take me as I am. Things. You have to understand that there are some rules, whether you're African or Asian or European, when you are at a certain level of responsibility in society, there are certain codes of conduct. So that's where the collective book of conduct comes in, and it doesn't matter whether you're Japanese or Ugandan, there is a certain level that is expected out of you. And the third challenge was balancing being a spouse, being a mom, and then also having a full-time job. But that is also a challenge that I believe everyone faces. Only that here you have to understand that your person is not available. Yes.
No kakanya pressure. Eunice, I'm very careful when using tags of color and race, but again, this is something we cannot shy away from. Yes, being a lady of color married to a white mayor, did that pose any particular challenges?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm saying this. I didn't get any direct. Those people who write all the the mean stuff. I didn't, and maybe if they did it behind my back. But I felt that the bar was higher for me because I'm a Black person. You people, it's one thing you're from the UK. You're a foreigner, but you're from the UK, because people don't tell the difference when you show up on Sotonomai and you're there check together. But when you're Black like me, and I'm very proud, by the way, of my color, when you're visible, you stand out. But also with all the stereotypes about people like me and you in this context, the bar is much higher. So I found myself being even extra cautious when you're in the store. It's not that, and the thing is that, like they say, when you have power, it brings out the real you. So, so in this case, the real you can, all the good parts come up, but you find that you have to really watch those other negative parts, because you're representing more than yourself. When people see me, they are judging everyone. So
you're actually our ambassador in that context.
So at least that is what I can say about that.
Yes, I love it that you share at length about this, and I've also on Euroforum, just like I've done the same on my African athletics for the episodes I've listened to. There is so much, enormously so much we learn from people's stories, people's history. I quoted Solomon Jagwe on his podcast with you, as he was narrating his journey from Uganda, that lady he met on the plane, and then, but before coming to moving to the US, there was somewhere he did, or I should call it voluntary work. He offered a service for 4 years. I think it was for 4 years, and that was unpaid service. My experience, my time in Norway, I've learned that dugnad, voluntary work, is the spring on which Norway rotates. I might be over-exaggerating it, but you probably have more experience than me on this. In line with dugnad, on this, I would just love you to share from experience and maybe knowledge to an immigrant watching us from wherever you are. How would you share on the value of voluntary work in building a society, in building a community?
The concept of dugnad.
Okay, voluntary work. I'm moving it from Norwegian.
Yeah, I'll start from the concept of dugnad.
Okay. Sorry.
Is not exclusive to Norway. Again, There's actually an episode on NRK. I think, yeah, but I'll send the link if people are interested, about a Norwegian man who goes around and talks about dugnad and explains it in detail and admits dugnad has been in many different cultures. Yeah, that's the first thing. But voluntary work, especially in the context of what we are talking about, is, I think we'll just jump into, like, if you want to integrate in a society, like I said, you look at yourself and you say, there I will try, there I won't try. I feel like you should not just throw yourself in everything. You cannot be everywhere. You'll get lost. So I feel like if we are looking at if the question was, how can we volunteer? How can we be of service? How can we get involved in the communities in which we are planted? I feel like in us, whether before you came to Uganda or as a young person who has grown up in Europe here, there is something that is dear to your heart. Some people, it's sports. Some people, it's children. Some people, it's humanitarian work. There are so many organizations, Rotary, even our Uganda society. Some people, it's the social. Some people are very talented, in making people feel comfortable, welcoming. Just find that thing. You don't need a PhD in something, or you have been a sports person. Manya, I won so many medals but find that thing that is dear to your heart, that gives you joy, has given you joy from before, and find a community, volunteer there. I feel for me, that's the genuine way of doing it. When I finished my master's here, and I was learning Norwegian at the same time, trying to look for a job as an architect, I volunteered at SAC, which is the Center for African Culture at Bislett. And I told him, I can't be here every time, but I will try every Saturday. And I was specific. I was like, I'm really, like I told you, I was enthusiastic about these young people. I feel like, man, let them not go around without purpose, especially the ones who have grown up here. So I was like, give me the kids. The culture and everything, dancing. I'm not a good dancer. So I was like, give me the kids and we do the creative workshops with them. So I worked with the kids there, the African Skill Orchestra. And I met so many Black people there, so many mixed, parents with mixed kids there. And that was, a ticket, suddenly there was a Ugandan there. You get it? And suddenly there was a person who knew a Ugandan. It's like, this person. It's okay. I'll give you the contact. I'll tell them about you. So find that thing that extends. And also, you can also be smart and find that thing that is related to your career, what you'd want to work with. Rotary here, and it, you know what I mean. So for me, when it comes to voluntary work, be intentional. And I said, let it help you thrive. Then you find balance. Then you feel integrated.
Eunice. I love your angle of response to these questions. I think, to me, I'm carrying it with me, that being intentional, know that you want to throw out there. So I think it's very important to know, serve with a purpose related to who you are. I think that's very, very important. Eunice, and even before that, our dear viewers, we are soon winding up, and Eunice Nanzara is our guest today. Mukyala Mugwere, era ajja tubuuzaako Mugwere before we wind up. Era tunyumyemu ne mu Luganda. Abeera wano Norway, ng'aweereza mu bintu bingi. Architect ng'akolagana wamu naye architect omulala mukulu gwe bayita Sekitole Lawrence. Balina kampani gye bakola, mirimu mingi gye bakoze nga bayamba okuba nga basitula Abannayuganda abalala oba sijja kirimitinga ba African diasporans abalala okuba nga they make sense out of what they do. We are soon winding up, and I feel we can never have enough. And this is our episode 1 with Eunice, where we shall come back in another episode talking about her life in the professional world. I think we haven't hinted anything apart from just a mere mention of what you do. There is a very amazing story out there, how she bounced back. Of course, when she came in like any other immigrant, there is that window where you haven't grounded yourself, and after some time, given your fighting muscle, you fight back. Others fail, others change course. But whichever way she did it, she bounced back. And I think it would be very fascinating to hear how she did that. But before we wind up, there are these random questions. African heritage. Of course, we cannot talk about African heritage without picking your thought about Black Lives Matters. Just a random one. Black Lives Matter, there are people who believe that I think this is not something that should even given a platform because all lives matter. And others argue, argue that Black Lives Matter and we are the minority. A random one, a very quick one. What's your take on that?
Black Lives Matter.
Is there a need for that anyway?
My response is Black
Lives
Matter every day.
Every day. Okay. And okay, I won't even ask. I just wanted to know, okay, where you fall. But of course, there is so much talk about that matter every day. But a very quick one. Why do you argue that? Don't all lives matter?
Black Lives Matter because we have to understand the story around it. And again, I'm going back to that group of people who refuse to educate themselves about other people. They are the center of the world. They are used to being the center of the world, and they're very uncomfortable with other people being centered. Finished.
Entitlement.
Yes. You know that child. It's like an only child. And I'm talking about an only child who is spoiled. I'm sorry, all only childs. But you get my concept. You know, the spoiled only child. They are the center of attention. My battery's right now. They're the center of attention. So whenever someone else is introduced in their world, they can't stand it. For me, that's how I see it. Does it mean that the other children don't matter?
I hope you're educating someone.
For me, that's how I see it.
You might be actually also educating me in that line of thought.
So I feel like the whole argument that all lives matter is based on the fact that there is a certain group of people that are used to being centered. And whenever other people and their issues are addressed and are centered, they have a problem with it. And I think it's a very selfish attitude. There is space for people. It's like you can fight for women's rights and at the same time fight for Black men's rights in workplaces. You know, both of them are important issues. We just have to know that, okay, today we are talking about this. Tomorrow we are talking about this. I think some people don't understand. For some people, it's like, no, it's me all the time, 24/7. So that's how I see that Black Lives Matter discussion. I don't know, simply put.
Thank you so much. I realize that every time you're responding, you're communicating. I mean, you're subconsciously communicating so much. I think this also cuts across so many other aspects of life where we get so filled of ourselves that we feel we have to suffocate everyone else and just occupy the space. Eunice, you've done a lot of work on your My African Athletics podcast. There are so many, and you watching us, you could just chip in. We shall share the website and chip in and watch those podcasts. The beauty with that is that you can even pocket your phone as watching. Maybe what you can do with what we do in Euroforum, because basically it's video content. Just in case someone hacked your website and you lost all the content, what would you be left? I mean, the content on My African Athletics. In case someone hacked your website and you lost all the content.
I have backup.
You have backup.
Yes. Okay. I don't know, literally answering the question, unless it was a philosophical question that I didn't understand.
I love that, but it wasn't actually a philosophical question, but I think you smartly answered it to put a blinder on it that it doesn't lead to another question. Thank you for that. Politician. Okay, indeed, you're well married to politician. Okay, Eunice, as we wind up, I want to invite you to sum up this show with a take home to our viewers. Speak to that immigrant you feel needs to get a voice, a kickstart, a pep talk from your perspective. Okay, I think we lost Eunice. Yeah, we lost Eunice. Her battery was running low, and yes, at least she was giving her closing remarks. Yes, I believe you were inspired by her submissions. Like I promised, we shall be bringing her back again to share more thoughts on her line of work and her line of service. My African, yes, my African athletics. But for now, we shall hold it here, and I will invite you to tune in next Sunday for a show which will be hosted by my colleague Samantha Elf, living in Finland. He will be hosting a guest still also living in Finland, where they will be sharing on a diverse topic, still about yes, I don't have it very clearly, but it will be about something to do with lifestyle and looking at life in a broader perspective, where we relate to immigrants and awakening our potentials. We want to thank you all for tuning in and sparing time. Euroforum is your platform where we have a team of people spread out in the Scandinavian and in Uganda. We have Nalumo Irene, who brings to us Gakutem Week every Saturday. In case you haven't watched this week's episode, chip in on our YouTube channel and watch what happened, what transpired, what were the headlines in Uganda. We have Nagolola Janet. She's a parenting coach and the brand or the company, Mind Your Child. You always watch us posting a flyer, a video about what she does. We shall later post a video where most of our work is summarized and what she really does. But before that, we can always remind you that you living in Uganda and in the diaspora, you can be sure that you have someone reliable, someone credible who can awaken that potential in your child. Nagolola Janet Yahaya Yochala. Okay, I'm getting back my guests here. I was feeling very bad that I didn't pick your closing remarks. Yes, I've read a book about human psychology, and I've come to learn that people attach so much value to things said lastly. Eunice, I'm glad you're back.
I don't know. I'm having technical problems, but I'm glad I'm back. I'm really sorry to all this.
No, technical problems, but you're more technical actually. More technical than those problems. So, that sounds all up. Eunice, I was seeking your last remark, which I actually called a pep talk, a kickstart, a word to make a U-turn in somebody's life as we wind up.
I don't know if I have the power, but I'll be quite quick. I really think that we, the children of the diaspora, but the people of the diaspora, and maybe as you people have followed, we need to be self-aware. It is very important that we have a good conversation with ourselves and determine our values. People will respect it. They might have a problem with your values and the way you present yourself, but in the end, and I'm not talking about queer punk, you know how people are that, now she's this and this. No. It's about saying, if your value is that for us on Sundays, we go to church. It is finished. We respect it. If your value is that for me, Banangi, this year, I will be concentrating on learning this skill. So I'd really appreciate, Bambi, if you guys, any leads, be sending them in this direction, because this is my focus for this year. If you're one person in your group, surround yourself with those people who you really see, I know actually I can my friends, I can actually pronounce what they are about. I can say it, I can articulate it in 3-4 sentences. It also means that you're a good friend. You're helping build each other. Let's not break each other down, but we start building each other when we try to understand each other. Then Let's connect with fellow Ugandans, Africans, and people of color. It may take some time. It may take some time. My family has just come in. It may take some time, but you will find people, show up when you're invited. And after some time, you will find your group. You'll find your people. Then for those who can, go home. It's expensive. It can be really hard. But for those who can, please go home and visit. Introduce your children to the culture. Also, let's understand our role in our context. We can't be everything. We'll get exhausted. Let's understand our role, and let's see what are the rules of engagement. What are the social codes? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? What am I willing to compromise? What can I not compromise on? Let's stay interested also in the context that we are in. Look at the news. Don't be the neighbor who is always asking, what was it? Don't be that kind of person who is always angers, what? There's nothing attractive. There's nothing serious about that. People, let's get serious. Let's get interested, because let no one catch you unaware. It doesn't mean that you're the busy person talking around. Now keep informed about your context, because you will know how to act in your what? In your context. And then lastly, love yourself. Love yourself and keep your peace. Every action does not need a reaction. These people can provoke. People who don't understand you will provoke you. And maybe sometimes by nature, you'll be provoked because you're having a hard time. You're missing your family, you're missing your people, and someone is interrupting. But remember, not every action deserves a what? A reaction. So I think those would be my short things. Yes, I can't go on. But that
Eunice, yes, I will. We need to really talk when soonest we can have the second episode, because I think this time around we've been trying to merge integration and but I think we really need to come here to just talk about stuff, awakening stuff. As you spoke, your last point, you kind of reminded us that we should go against Newton's third law of motion, that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So that you don't have to react on everything. I really love that. And thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I can see from your body language that your family is home and you really love to go. I hope we have you back in the at least this quarter of the year to have at least more nuggets of knowledge to share. I really appreciate your time on behalf of your firm. I want to appreciate you. I want to send greetings to Penina Achayo, Yoko, founder of My African Athletics. We feel so geared up and encouraged when people like you, with whom we share a line of work, and I would proudly say that from my talk with you privately and here, I feel we are like-minded colleagues in a way. Lines of thought, I feel we are kind of in the same radius. I want to thank you and also thank your team on My African Athletics for the work you do, the work we do. I feel we are running the same wheel, and I feel as a team, we can make enormous changes in the world. Thank you for your last input. And to you, our dear viewers watching us, I want to thank you all. Thank you for sparing time. I know you will feel interested and geared to share on this show after this. Please do when you feel so. And don't forget to like our page on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Again, I repeat, feel comfortable, like we always share, to recommend a guest, to recommend someone. Today, we are delighted that we are hosting a host in this context. So rubbing shoulders with the big, you end up becoming big. Thank you, Eunice, for your time, and thank you, viewers. Thank you, Eurofarm team, Smoggy, Jorin, Samantha, Janat, Irene, Gibson, we sign out for now. Yes, Mr. Yeah. Bye-bye. You're muted, Eunice. You're muted.
Thank you very much, Moses, and thank you for the opportunity, and also thank you for people who have spared time to listen to me. I hope someone has learned something, or even if not learned, but I hope something has resonated with them. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week.
Thank you so much. Greetings to your family.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Abakulu. Asha. Asha. Sabang fulano. Sorry.